I want to cover the present moment, and there's two things that really mess it up. But before we say that, I want to stress the importance of the present moment. When you compare the past, the present, and the future, the present, by far the most important. It's life. It's all we have is the present moment. So one of the biggest things that messes up the present is the past. And thing I don't like about the past is there's things like, I guess I want to steal this idea, identification. The problem with the past is that based on your past and how you were raised and the things you like and your habits and all that, you fall into this little box when you identify and you start to say things like, oh, I am this or I am that. And I guess that's cool, you know what you're about, but the only problem is sometimes based on being one thing, you eliminate yourself from being something else. For your, it's hard to come up with an example, but basically, sometimes people say stuff like, I can't do this because it's not my thing, you know? Or I can't imagine myself doing that. And where does that really come from? Like, who are you really? You know, you should be open and free. You're a free spirit. You're a human being. What is this, these reasons not to, you know? I just don't get it, you know? I mean, personally, I'm working on it too, trying to be open to new things, and there's some stuff that I don't like, which you do have a right to, but I'm saying, you know, there's some things that you might learn from. You know, you shouldn't cut yourself off from basically opportunities or life experiences. I mean, you want to go YOLO, you do only have one life, so the biggest thing I would say to be careful of is coming up with regret. And I have a lot of that too, so I have passed up a lot of life experiences based on this identification and saying, oh, it's not my thing, I don't do that. It's really bad. So, another thing about connected to the past is trauma. This one is unfortunate, you know. I understand entirely that if someone is going through something or something happened to someone, that they want to protect themselves and they don't want to do certain things or be around a certain type of people, but it just sucks and it hurts for this reason because for all those bad experiences in which someone else did something to you, it sucks because it feels like, well, now that person, even after so many years, still has an effect on your life. And unfortunately, it's not a good one. It's just not fair because it's your life, it's your freedom. You're supposed to be able to do what you want. It just really, really sucks when a person limits themselves or keeps themselves in a cage based off what other people did. I mean, damn, I can't necessarily walk through the process to get someone past trauma or bad experiences, but damn, it just really sucks. It sucked for me when I was in it too. I've been through it and it's taken me a long time to get out of. And even till this day, of course, I'm still at danger of falling into certain black holes or traps, but I guess the focus right now is on the present moment, so it's kind of dumb, this whole identification thing. Uh, it's the biggest hindrance for sure for the present moment. It's like the past is seriously, honestly, it's not only is it dead, but it's just you can't go back to the past. So if you're basing your life in this moment right now based off stuff that happened in the past, I mean, it's a thin line too, you know, because it's cool to learn and it's cool to keep positive influences. So it's not exactly fair to just say let go of just this, well, just the bad stuff. But you know, in my case, that's all I can suggest. You know, the only problem I have with passing up opportunities here and there is they stack up really fast, to be honest. And I do believe this one thing that I heard, which is the older you get, the faster time flies. And it's true. And all of a sudden, a year doesn't really feel that long, to be honest. It feels like a month. So it's scary for myself in my situation that I've passed up X amount of opportunities. Because when you're in the moment, you're like, well, it's just one opportunity wasted or one opportunity passed up. It doesn't feel like much. But I promise, when you start to look back, it gets pretty scary. Um, Scary to the point where as I move on into the future, I might be more open minded to things because, yeah, you only live once. And I'm pretty sure that when I'm on my deathbed, I'll have quite a few regrets. I mean, is it impossible to stop? No. Will I add more regrets later? Of course, but still, I would just urge that you don't let things get in the way. Well, the wrong things get in the way. It's cool to pass up stuff for the right reasons, you know? If danger's involved or it goes against your beliefs and so on and so forth, of course. But honestly, one of the biggest things that gets in my way for the present moment, honestly, is my own thoughts, or I want to call it the ego. I mean, Jesus, it's 95% of all my thoughts are negative. I mean, how would you expect me to want to do anything when all I do is complain and talk shit about people I don't know or a potential experience like an opportunity or an invite to do something? You know, I get invited to something, I can't help but ask a million questions. And if I don't get the right answer, hypothetically, I don't want to do it anymore, but man, like every waking moment my mind talks shit. So if we're talking about things that get in the way of the present moment, it's definitely, you got to keep your thoughts in check. I mean, they say that the reason why your ego or your mind talks so much shit about everything is because, yeah, it wants to protect you, doesn't want you to try new things, and it wants you to stay in your comfort zone. I mean, I feel like a lot of people know this already. It's all over social media for sure, but just a quick reminder, you know? I mean, just don't listen to your mind all the time. It's life is definitely not as bad as what the mind says, and people aren't as bad as what your mind says. So, and also be careful of your mood also because that can change for the better if you do stuff. You don't want to pass up on things and miss out. Another is regret. You don't want to be towards the end of your life regretting not doing all these things. What I would say is the best way to go about being in the present moment is just knowing who you are and just simply doing what you want to do and not second guessing it, not thinking too much. I promise that thinking is such a bad thing, especially in this case. It's not always helpful. I know it feels good to think that you're strategizing and analyzing and being smart about it, but sometimes just going with emotions is good enough.